'Tis the season for another What's in My Wallet video. And yes, guilty, this is one of those, but there's a little bit of a twist with this. So stick around to the end if you want to, and if you find value in this. And look, I understand that some of these videos may be repetitive, but you have a choice on which videos you want to watch. So if you don't get any value out of this, you know what to do. So if you're still here, this is a bit of a hybrid video of what's in my wallet today, the cards that I use in my everyday life, and then some alternatives, some things that I'm considering that you may want to consider as well if you are using some of the cards that I use. And there are people that like to talk about cashback only cards, that talk about credit union cards. That's not me. I don't know the first thing about those credit union cards. I know that the majority of them, if not all of them, are cashback only. And yes, they may earn 5% cash back, and people want to create some wonderful video about those, but the value stops there. Whereas a travel rewards card, which are the ones that I focus on, and there's a lot of those in the Chase, the Capital One, and the American Express ecosystems, those have travel rewards which maximize your value, or they double or triple the value. So when you see a 3x or a 4x category, right, like the American Express Platinum, that's 5x on flights, that's more like 10x plus to me, because I can take those points and then I can transfer those out to transfer partners to book those for travel redemptions. And that's where the creators in this space like to talk about these travel redemptions. And I'm one of those. I like to use these points for aspirational travel. There's not as much value when you're looking to book domestic rewards travel. There's some, probably a little bit better than you would get like with the Chase travel portal using the Sapphire Reserve, but not as much. So I can talk through some of these strategies, and certainly comment down below if you have questions or some ways that you've leveraged these points. And if you have been able to maximize cash back above and beyond 5%, then feel free to comment down below. I'm always looking to get better, as hopefully you are too, which is why you're watching this video. So I'm going to do this based on my top 4 categories of spend. And we could talk through the cards that I use today, some alternatives, but these 4 categories are food, travel, retail and shopping, which is lumped into one, and then taxes, utilities, and insurance, that is also lumped into one. So those are the 4 categories. So let's dig in. So the first category, my top spend category, no surprise here. It's probably the same for most of us, unless you're just a crazy person. And that's the food category. And for me, I understand it may be different than you and your lifestyle. I have a 2.5-year-old and a 4.5-year-old boy at home, Tasmanian devils, that eat everything. The younger one eats everything fresh, all the fruits and vegetables and everything we have in the refrigerator. The older one eats every single carb that we have in the pantry. So combining that with my wife and I, we try to eat healthy. We're at the grocery store at least 2 times a week, sometimes more. I really have 2 cards that I use here, and there's some reasons for that. One is trying to build points in multiple ecosystems, but the spend here for me is $25,000 to $35,000 a year, and this is because this is the grocery store and this is traveling for work. So whether I'm grabbing meals for myself or for entertaining for work. And then sometimes when my wife and I are able to get a babysitter and we can actually go out, pretty rare. But combining all of that together, I would say we're probably closer to the 35,000 range here. I haven't looked at my year-end summary yet, so don't hold me to that. But there's 2 main cards that I use here. First, the American Express Gold. No surprise there. Very popular food card, probably the most popular food card in the industry, earning 4x at restaurants and grocery stores. And the grocery store category is online or in the store. I use the Chase Sapphire Preferred for online shopping, more so when I'm like getting back from a trip or we're coming back in town. Once or twice a month, we'll do that. One, because of the credits through Instacart. And there's some periodic offers that you see where it's like $20 off or $40 off your grocery purchase. So that's where I get a lot of value. I just did this recently. It was like a $180 grocery bill that was a little less than $100 after factoring in the $40 credit that I got, the $15 monthly credit for the Sapphire Preferred, and then the 5% discount. It may have been just over $100, somewhere in that range. So Chase Sapphire Preferred, American Express Gold, I use those cards heavily in this category. My advice, at least a 3x card in this category, 3 to 4x. Some cards you'll see slightly higher. There's a couple of Chase cards that I'll get to where that may be a better alternative for you. Capital One has the Saver and Saver One The Saver One is 3x, the Saver is 4x, but with that annual fee. So you need to spend north of 10 grand difference really for the Saver to be of value. 10 grand, that 1% difference being $100. It's a $95 annual fee card. So that's something for you to consider if you want an annual fee grocery card or not. For me, I get the credits from the American Express Gold. I use those on Uber, mostly for Uber Eats, doing pickup or delivery there. We'll do that once or twice a month. I'll stack that with another card that I'll mention. And the Sapphire Preferred, I use that whenever I'm shopping online. One other point here, wholesale clubs. So Costco, Sam's Club, a lot of times there's fine print that these cards don't work at wholesale clubs. You have like the Chase Freedom Flex where there's rotating quarterly categories where the wholesale clubs are earning 5x or 5%. So those may be things you want to consider as a card that earns at these wholesale clubs. Okay, so the next category is travel, and this is right up there with food in terms of my top spend category. This may be different for you if you're not traveling for work, but between roughly 20 business trips a year plus 2 to 4 trips with the kids, 2 to 4 trips without the kids, including one trip to Europe that we try to take, that's usually on points. But all of that combined, I would say I'm in that 30K, 35K, sometimes up or down a few $1,000s, just depending on what the year looks like. Travel's not as simple as just one card, and I'll get to this more in a minute. But for me, I try to have one card that I leverage for my flights. And the reason here is if you're traveling for work, do you have to book through a company portal? Can you book directly with the airline? Can you use a card issuer ecosystem like the Chase Travel portal or the Amex portal? For me, I have to book through Concur, but the American Express Platinum works for 5x on flights when booking through Concur. So I use the American Express Platinum for all of my flight purchases to get that 5x. And then I use hotel-specific cards. As of now, for hotels with Marriott, I'm lifetime platinum status. I know that's not the highest with Marriott, but I've stayed at Marriott's probably close to 1,000 nights total in my working career. So I usually use the Bonvoy Boundless low annual fee card. Gets me, some little things. I don't place enough value on the free night credits for those higher annual fee cards because there's so much crossover with some of the credits and benefits with like the Bonvoy Brilliant card. But if you're just getting started or you're looking to get status with Marriott, the Bonvoy Brilliant card from American Express would be a good one. Big annual fee, I believe it's $650. Hilton has a couple of cards. I'm going to do another video on the Hilton cards. This may be something I'm looking to consider. So thinking this through, something I've done recently with the Chase Sapphire Preferred is Chase has their Chase offers, and American Express has American Express offers as well. But the American Express offers with travel and hotels specifically here, they're mostly geared towards luxury properties, or they're very specific. Certain locations or like very high-end Ritz, Conrad type of properties, typically not where I'm staying for work. Those may be ones that I look at for personal travel when my wife and I are going somewhere, we're looking to go to the mountains, things like that. Chase is more generic, where it may be Marriott specific or Hilton specific properties, or they're like the Element or Aloft that you can use in multiple cities. So more of your day-to-day hotel properties where you're traveling and staying for work. So what I've done recently is use my Sapphire Preferred and book these hotels that way. So not using my Bonvoy Boundless card, using the Sapphire Preferred to book Marriott's. And the reason for that is a lot of them have like 10% back. Sometimes it's like $30 back, 10% back, whatever the Chase offer is. So I can book that through the portal, put that, let's say it's $250 for the hotel, put that all on my card, get reimbursed for work. Hopefully my employer's not watching this. And then I get 10% back from Chase as a statement credit. So I would get $25 back. And I did this recently on a trip to Dallas. So to me, there's more value in doing this than booking that property with my Marriott card and getting, whatever the Marriott points. I think it's 18 to 21x back. These hotel cards are so hard to figure out with what the actual value on the points is. So typically I use the hotel cards, but recently I've started using my Chase cards, and I've looked at these American Express offers because there's some good ones there, just depending on the airlines or the hotels where you're looking to stay and that sort of thing. With flights, I don't mess around with it. It's the American Express Platinum for everything. So make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you're getting any value out of this. So for the retail and shopping category, I lumped all this together. First and foremost, Amazon Prime card, which gets 5% back or 5% off. Essentially the same thing as like the Target Red Card at Target. I use that for all my Amazon purchases, which there's a new Amazon box on our doorstep every single day. I don't even want to know what I spend in this category. But aside from that, I would either use American Express cards like the Gold and the Platinum. I know that that's not typically a card that you would use for like shopping at Lowe's or Home Depot, but with Amex offers, Lowe's and Home Depot often have Amex offers there, and you can stack that with Rakuten. So Rakuten, a lot of times there's like 2% back at Lowe's or Home Depot. So you can stack those offers and get elevated earnings, which makes it more valuable than using a 5% cashback card or something along those lines. Same with Capital One. So the Capital One shopping portal, there's a lot of offers very similar. It's just really like what ecosystem are you looking to build more points? Okay, and the last category for us wise old adults, or hey, maybe you're in your 20s and just really looking to sharpen the saw, is paying taxes, insurance, utilities, things like that with credit cards. One is a catch-all card. So making sure that I'm using a catch-all card like the Venture X, cards like that are earning at least 2x. Use that for all these miscellaneous spends and watch the points stack up year after year. The other is using a new card to get the welcome offer, the sign-up bonus to hit the minimum spend. So those are the two ways that I go about this. Either a catch-all card that's earning at least 2x, or a new card to hit the welcome offer or sign-up bonus for taxes, insurance, utilities. I'm spending 15 to 20 grand in this category alone year after year. Okay, and a couple other categories where you may spend a lot. Rent. I'm sure you've watched videos on the Bilt MasterCard. I don't have it. I don't pay rent. I know there are some people that use the Bilt card that don't pay rent. They pay for other services. So that may be something you want to consider. And then gym memberships. If you're spending a lot on gym memberships, like for yourself and your spouse, you may want to look at some specific cards like the Chase Freedom Flex, with the first quarter being 5x on gym memberships. Definitely have my gym memberships going there. And then the other 3 quarters out of the year, we're using a catch-all card. And then a few other categories like gas. We have an electric vehicle at home, so we don't pay for gas. And when I'm traveling for work, it's just not a big enough investment because I could use like Chase offers, Capital One offers, things like that to use a catch-all card and get enough back on my gas purchases when I'm traveling. Last, business expenses. This is something I would highly recommend, having a business card. I put out a video recently. I applied for and was approved for the Chase Inc. Cash Card. I'm not earning any money yet in the business space, so I was excited to get that card, and we'll see where it takes me. But definitely would recommend a business card if you're doing any business expenses, if you have a side hustle, if you're a 1099 employee, things like that, where you may want to have a business card or two. So that's it. So based on my 4-ish categories of spend, I wanted to put on the screen some calculations, just rough estimates on what I spend annually and the points that I accrue on each of these cards. And this is minus any referral bonuses and things like that, just based on spending. Now, what I also wanted to do is show you if I were to plug in the Chase Freedom Unlimited with the cashback match offer for the first year, what that would mean in terms of point elevation or decrease in these categories. So check this out. So pretty big increase in the categories. So what do you think? Is it worth it for me to add this card? We got a couple more days with that cashback match offer available. So it's either that or I hold off and add another business card quarter 2, but I'm at 424 from Chase. So, it would put me at 524 if I add the unlimited. So let me know your thoughts if you're still here. Once again, I appreciate your time. Spend wisely, and until next time.